that 2 U.S. Army soldiers and an interpreter have died there in Syria after an ambush attack.
Tonight in Australia, horror and heroism. Thousands running for their lives down Sydney's famous Bondi Beach. As police say, 2 shooters, a father and son, opened fire with long guns on a Jewish community event celebrating the first night of Hanukkah.
Multiculturalism has failed because it has failed to recognize the difference between a multi-ethnic society where everyone is encouraged to become one thing and a society where we have no desire for you to integrate. You want to speak a different language? Fine. You want to practice a completely different cultural set of values and beliefs about all sorts of different issues that actually matter? Fine. You want to have entirely within a community that looks like you and speaks a different language and is completely ghettoized? Fine. This doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it creates tensions between ethnic groups. Multiculturalism has failed because it cannot work. It simply cannot work.
All right. How's everybody doing? My name's Nolan, and this is another episode of Nolan's Room. A lot has been going on in the news and in media over the past week, and I haven't had time to sit down and actually write up or make a video for a couple days. So this is my attempt. I have like an hour to do so I'm going to do a quick video for you. It's not really going to be a video reaction or anything like that. It's mostly going to be a rant about the couple things that happened in the past week. And hopefully in the future, I'll be able to drop videos as news stories begin to develop. But at least right now, how I'm doing it gives me time to look into what's happening and giving the world time to settle after the events take place, especially something as terrible as the mass shooting in Australia. But right now, it looks like the discussion in regards to this shooting is leading again into the debate of multiculturalism in the West and whether or not it's a problem. I have my own views on it. I think it is a problem, and until we're ready to grow a pair and actually talk about things that might be upsetting to people, we're going to continue to have these problems in the future. Instead of solving them, we're just going to keep replaying them over and over again. It's going to be like a cassette tape, rewinding, then playing, and it's going to get really old and get really boring, especially when every time we see these, we're seeing innocent people die, like little kids, innocent women, old folks. It's tiring, and it begs the question, how long are we going to be able to put up with this before we get tired of it? We need to figure out a solution to these problems, and until then, what? We're just going to let it happen. We cry over it for about a week until something else in the news cycle grabs our attention and we move on to another topic until it happens again, of course. And that's basically the state of things in political discourse in the West. And once again, the liberal anti-offensive mindset where we can't even talk about certain subjects and we have to work around hurting people's feelings because apparently we would rather scrape dead bodies up from our streets as long as the perpetrators aren't offended or hurt by what we have to say. It's wild. So the discussion really isn't just on immigration and who we let in, but what happens after they're here. It's a problem with assimilation, and that word carries a negative connotation with it because nobody wants to be told to give up their culture or forget about their culture. And just as well, nobody wants to be the person telling people that that's what they need to do. And that's not really what I'm saying. I'm more or less asking that you remember and honor your culture, where you come from, your family, your ancestors. But that comes second. What comes first is the American culture. American culture should come first. What brings us together, what we have in common is that we live in America. It's our home. I'm not saying erase the memory of your culture or your ancestors. The Irish, whenever they came, certainly didn't in the 1800s, or the Mexican or German immigrants. They came to America, maintained who they were, but they also learned to speak the language. They worked hard. They served their country in wars. The Irish came to America. They became police officers. Italians went into construction. Poles became miners, factory workers. It goes on and on and on. Everyone brought a piece of the puzzle to what makes this country what it is today. Each culture had its own niche in the greater American culture. But most importantly of all, they were American. I mean, the men shed their blood under the American flag in many American wars. Many Irish immigrants fought in the Civil War. Entire brigades were dedicated to the Irish. Some were recruited right off the ships that they sailed here on. Spanish Americans, Italians, African Americans, they all stormed the beaches of Normandy and helped to defeat Nazism. Many men were drafted to fight in Vietnam, didn't matter what their color were. Mostly poor people, because that's normally who fights our wars. They poured their blood, their sweat, and tears into the country, and through it, they became Americans. But what happens, though, when people come here who were forced to leave their countries due to circumstances caused by the failures of American foreign policy? People like Iraqis or Syrians or Afghans. Our war on terrorism toppled their governments and wrecked their way of life. What about people who come here that might be resentful towards the American way of life? Not even saying it's not, I'm not even saying it's not warranted. Do you think they want to adopt American culture, or would they rather just live here and that's the extent of their allegiance to us? It's a good question. And I'm going to play a Jillian Michaels clip from Piers Morgan, and she lays out a problem with bringing that specific kind of immigrant to America. And I think the risk is undeniable.
That's a conservative number, right? 90% of Muslims are peaceful and lovely and amazing. But if 10% wants to bring down the West, you're looking at a heck of a lot of people. You're looking at like 200 million people. So what do you do about that? And yes, there are amazing heroes like the man who tried to stop them. But guys, when you look at the fact that there have been 64,000 terror attacks since 9/11 that were committed by radical Islam, 243,000 people died in those terror attacks. And you're saying all religions, I mean, not really. Not really.
Okay, so multiple things can be true at once. Yes, this was a Muslim father and a son, a radical Muslim pair that committed the act. It's also true that the West's foreign policy towards the Middle East caused this radicalization. And yes, it's also true that a Muslim was one of the men who put himself in danger to stop the attack. But in the same sense that you can't judge a whole group of people based off of one bad apple, you also can't assume that every individual in a group is good based off of the good deeds of one or a few people. Yeah, this brave individual risked his life to stop this attack, but that doesn't mean to open the floodgates because we found a few good ones. It should be reason to stop and actually think what the hell we're doing. We still need to scrutinize and investigate every person who comes here from a country destroyed by war or plagued by radical terrorism. But America and the West, they refuse to do that because the offensive nature in an action like that. So our leaders are more concerned with not offending immigrants that are coming here who have been here for a short amount of time than they are with keeping American citizens safe. It's as simple as that. And it's not just an immigration problem. It's multiculturalism as a whole idea. My question is, does it really work? I mean, is that question in bounds? Does this experiment work? And why? If we don't know whether or not it works, then why do we have to be the guinea pigs in an experiment that could lead to people dying? I mean, we've been fed this narrative our entire lives, this idea that diversity is our strength, that our differences make us stronger, and at this point, I really don't know if that's even true. I mean, racial tensions are at its highest since the 60s. We're more culturally diverse than ever before. So in their logic, we should be getting along better and doing better than ever before in our history. But what you're asking me to do is to ignore what we have seen over the past 10 years and just blindly buy into your intellectual multicultural theories. Well, dude, I'm sorry. It's getting hard to ignore that. Do you really have anything in common with someone if they speak a different language and you can't even communicate with them at the grocery store? It's just something to think about because we've been fed this narrative that we have to be accepting of the other cultures and let immigrants from everywhere into the country. And to even put a limit on the number of immigrants that comes in is a bigoted thing to do to them. So me saying that we've let too many people in this year, sorry, come back next year, that's bigoted in their eyes. Isn't it enough? Isn't it enough that we accepted the 20 million that came in the past 10 years? I mean, isn't letting 20 million, isn't that accepting enough? But saying that no more for, I don't know, a little while makes us Nazis. It's like it seems to me that you're trying to shame me into allowing you to fundamentally change our country. I thought we believe in the idea of democracy. I mean, for his insane number of flaws, Trump was reelected in 2024 by majority and in the Electoral College on a promise to slow the stem of immigration. Isn't that enough for the leaders of our country to get the point that Americans don't hate people from other countries, but we do hate the idea of you changing the country we live in because it's not diverse enough for you? Well, when will it be diverse enough? When do you say, okay, we've taken in enough immigrants, we're done, everything is diverse enough, let us start to rebuild our nation and fix our problems? It's almost like the problems domestically that we face don't even matter to these people, like poverty, health, the healthcare system. None of these are going to be made better the more immigrants we bring in. On the contrary, you're drowning your own citizens in a sea of people, and their voice becomes quieter and it goes unheard. And that's dangerous when people believe their words aren't being heard and that talking is getting them nowhere, then they resort to violence because that's the only option left. They tell us that we're stronger in our diversity. And I honestly just want someone to show me the proof that that's actually the case because nobody has given me a good answer to that. The only answer I get is don't be a bigot, don't be a Nazi. That's the way the German person thought in 1939. Caring about your borders and putting your nation first could lead to another Holocaust. And I'm tired of that tactic. I'm tired of being forced to agree with stupid liberal policies because, you know, a moral gun is being pointed at my head. They'll say America was founded on immigration and we're a nation of immigrants. And yeah, that's true. But it wasn't just a revolving door 100% of the time. People came here in waves. They loved the idea of America. They became American by adopting our values and our history and working hard. Now people come here from countries that we, America, destroyed due to our foreign policy. Our military destroyed their homes, possibly killed their family and friends. And they come here and we ask them to love America. Seriously? Would you love a country that did that to your homeland? I mean, I'm from here and I'm having a hard enough time loving my country. What do you think someone from Iraq feels towards America? Yeah, the quality of life for them might be better now since they left Iraq or Afghanistan. Their family might be safer, but do you think all of them without a question love this country, the country that destroyed their home? So that's not even me blaming them. It's more me blaming America and its shit foreign policy. Take Syria, for instance. We drowned them in a civil war and ended up funding the worst groups in the process, making their land unlivable, and then bringing them here among our people in our nation, the people that killed their family and blew up their house. Yeah, real fucking smart. And we do it because we feel bad about blowing up their house. Well, here's an idea. Don't blow up their home. Then they can stay there where they're currently living, where they're happy, where their life is, instead of having to risk bringing somebody here who could be radicalized and hurt somebody. And that actually brings me to my next topic, the war in Syria, because we just lost American soldiers. And it has all the hallmarks of the classic American regime change operation. Now, after the soldiers were killed, I saw people all over the internet saying things like, why are we in Syria? Or, I don't know what we're doing there. What are we doing there? And I'll tell you what we're doing there. We're there because the American empire demands that we be there. Because we spent the better part of a decade helping to destroy a country, that country, and overthrow its leader. We were so committed to that idea that we funded radical jihadi groups like the ones we've been fighting for 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan. Groups like Al-Nusra Front or Al-Qaeda in Syria. The Free Syrian Army rebels that we supported were peppered with jihadi groups. And all of them are trying to take advantage of the power vacuum that we created. And it worked. The leader of one of those groups is now the president of Syria. Not voted in, mind you. Taken with military force. And this is the man that we welcome to DC and welcome into our alliance, the man who had to be taken off a terror watch list in order to be able to travel to America, to have these sit downs with our leaders. This man has military ties to ISIS, the very same people who just last week killed those soldiers, and we're surprised by this. Do you think this guy is going to be a benevolent leader who loves all of his citizens? Come on. He's been fighting a war against his own people for 12 years. Do you think he's really welcoming them in with open arms like Abraham Lincoln pardoning the Confederate generals who fought against him? Or do you see another future problem for America and American soldiers that we will, without a doubt, have to contend with somewhere down the road because this radical jihadi Syrian president that we put into power gives up on the script that America and Israel wrote for him, and then we have to go take care of it militarily. And it's already starting to backfire, as you see with these 2 dead soldiers, and it's a shame. And it's insane that we just got done fighting a war against these people, and what better way is there to prove that we failed than to watch the leader of a terror network take presidency in Syria, and watch our politicians stand on the stage and shake his hand and tell us that he's a reformed man. Give me a break. And to end this, I'll ask you, can you see why an immigrant from Syria or Iraq might come to America or Australia or anywhere in the West and become radicalized after learning or seeing firsthand what our foreign policy towards their home nation has been like for the past 15, 20 years? And we're asking these people to assimilate with us. I mean, it seems like a bold ask, and it's no surprise that the same country who blew up their hometowns would see no issue in bringing these people into our neighborhoods around our citizens and put our own citizens through a social experiment that could lead to American citizens being raped or killed. It seems like the American citizens are left to face the brunt of the consequences of the actions of our world empire that is America. We're left to carry the load, and it's a stab in the back, if you ask me. I think immigration should be stopped. That's my opinion. All of it, not just illegal immigration, but legal immigration, all of it as well. Not because I hate people from other countries or hate other cultures or want to bring in the Fourth Reich, but because in the past 20 years, we've brought in tens of millions of immigrants, more than any wave of immigration from the 19th or 20th century combined. We have problems with American society, problems not only among immigrants, but among Americans also, existential problems like drug addiction, poverty, mental illness, the diminishing middle class, race relations. I mean, these problems that I just noted are talked about in the media. They're argued over, they're cried over, but nothing's done. I think we need to solve these biggest problems in America to make life better for people who are here right now. Native-born citizens and immigrants alike. And I'm not saying let's take any immigrants out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying let's just stop it. Stop all immigration into the country. Fix life here for everybody. Stop the influx of people. And I don't know for how long that might be. 5 years, might be 10 years. I don't know. Let's just make life better here. And then once our biggest issues are solved, if they're even solvable, then we can discuss bringing in more waves of people. But until then, the more government allows basically unfettered immigration, the more your problems in your society are put on the back burner and you drop lower in the priority list. And I think as an American in a society governed by representatives that we elect, that being put on the back burner is simply unacceptable. And I think the only way to stop it is to stop the immigration problems that we have going on right now, focus on people here in America, and hopefully the issue, I'm not saying all of our issues, murder, drug addiction, gang violence, mass shootings, not all of them are connected to immigration, but we can prevent another terror attack, a jihadi terror attack, from happening again in the future. And if you're plagued and you're drowning in problems like the ones we face in our country, if you're plagued by those problems already, then why would you import more problems? Why would you import the third world into your country to try to solve their problems? You got to care about your family first before you can help the neighborhood. And right now, we're not doing too good as a family. America, we're not doing the greatest. And that's all I got, unfortunately. I feel sorry for the soldiers who died in Syria. I'm sorry that their country has asked them to be over there, that they're still there. It seems like even after wars end nowadays, people don't come home. I'm not sure if they ever really did come home to begin with, but we're still over there. Even though these wars, the war on terror seems like it's over, it's not. We're always going to be over there. The American empire demands it, and it demands the blood of good patriots, good soldiers, good men, women. And the empire is never satisfied. It's always going to be hungry. It's always going to be gobbling up more. And maybe that's what it takes to have the kind of life we have. I mean, with all of our problems, we have it pretty good. I complain a lot about our problems, but overall, we have a pretty good life here. So maybe the empire affords that to us. And I'm over here uh, eating the dinner, but complaining about the food. I don't know. But I just want America to be better. And so with that, that's all I have. I'm going to try to drop a couple more videos this month and see where it goes from there. I appreciate you watching. I would love for you to subscribe and like this video and continue to follow me. I'm going to give you as much information as I can in the coming videos in the future. And maybe we can start going live once we get enough followers. So thank you very much. I'm Nolan. This is Nolan's Room. I'll catch you on the flip side.